Hey guys, it's Dawn, and I am filming on New Year's Eve. I thought it would be super fun to do a sort of chatty vlog type video where I talk about my goals for 2022, how my goals went for 2021, do some tidying, show off bookshelves, show my editing process a little bit because I'm going to pull an all-nighter and do some edits for The Elf and the Goblin. So it's just going to be a relaxing, chatty kind of video, so I hope you enjoy that. So the time has come to talk about how 2021 went as far as my writing and reading goals. It's a little bit bittersweet to be holding this planner. It was my planner for the year, and this is the last day that I get to use it. It served me well. I really like having a very simple layout, I've found out. And it's nice to flip through and just see how well utilized it is, basically. So I'm super happy with this one. So let's talk about what I intended to do this year and what I actually did, because they're actually very different, but I'm still super happy looking back on what I did accomplish. And I think I made the right choice shifting gears from what I originally intended to what ended up being my actual focus for the year. So let's talk about writing. My original goal, my primary writing goal for this year was to finish the second draft of The Network. And that very quickly went out the window for a lot of reasons that I'll get into in a second. But the secondary goal I had was to finish the first draft of my Russian fairy tale. I outlined it I worked on outlining it in March, and then I attempted to work on it in April for Camp NaNoWriMo, but I had just finished, where is it? Over here. I had just finished writing the novella / first draft / zero draft, however you want to call it, of The Elf and the Goblin. And I had fallen completely in love with this story and could not get it out of my head. So it was impossible to work on another project when all of my daydreaming went toward The Elf and the Goblin. So midway through April, I realized Russian fairy tale wasn't working, and I decided to start outlining the second draft, which was going to be a full novel version of The Elf and the Goblin, which is right here. Oh no! I made the mistake of getting a binder that has kind of like a rough surface, so stickers obviously do not stick on it very well. And for a while, I had this typewriter on there, and it just peeled off. So I put it on my other binder, which has just like a glossy surface, so hopefully it'll stay on there. But that's my Elf and the Goblin binder, if you're curious. Anyways, that was dramatic, but it's right here. This chunky guy is the second draft of The Elf and the Goblin. So I spent April and May outlining it fully, and then I started drafting it in June, and I finished drafting it in November for NaNoWriMo. So that's another thing I did this year is I won NaNoWriMo, which was super fun, and I actually only took 20 days to do it. So it was a very, very good year as far as hitting word count goals for me. So once again, going back to the novella, this one was 67,000 words approximately, and this guy is 183,000 words, which I expect it to get slightly bigger as I add more details, but not horribly, because there are, I think, 4 chapters I wrote for this draft that I ended up deciding I didn't like. They were intro chapters. But after I wrote them, I realized I really like where I started the novella, and so I just needed to add more background information to make it work. So there's stuff that is going to be cut from the second draft so that it'll kind of balance out the stuff that I'm adding, hopefully. So that was the huge writing thing that I accomplished this year, was finishing a novella and then finishing a 183,000 word draft of an epic fantasy novel. So I feel good about that, even though it wasn't what I started out the year intending to do. I think it was the right choice. And I feel like I'm in such a good creative place right now that I just can't even imagine what it would have been like if I had forced myself to stick with the network and with the Russian fairy tale. So I'm super, super happy with that. I owe a lot of it to the fact that I read a couple really good books this year. My favorite one, I recommend this to any of you guys who are trying to kind of pin down a writing routine, get over some mental roadblocks. This is A Writer's Guide to Persistence by Jordan Rosenfeld. Oh my gosh, I love this book. 5 stars. I felt called out sometimes when she was kind of breaking down some of the mental blocks that people can run into, because I definitely had some of them. And specifically excuses that we make to ourselves for why we're not working on our writing consistently. We're not making time for it. We're not prioritizing it. I cannot recommend this book enough. And then the second book, which I don't have a copy of, I borrowed it from the library, but the second book that I highly recommend, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have read because it's very popular, but Atomic Habits. I forget the author's name, but I'll put it down in the description so that you can find it. But super great tips in that book. Obviously, not every single tip is going to work for every person, but I pulled out some really valuable things from that book. For example, my absolute favorite piece of advice, which I definitely implemented myself and it helped me develop a writing routine, is creating a goal that's like a starter goal, if that makes sense. Like it's a goal to get you in the mode of doing the thing that you wish you did more of. So specific to writing, you make the goal that you want to write 1 sentence every day, because the idea behind it is that most of us, when we start a task, we don't just start and then stop immediately. Like we start and we kind of go for a while and get into it. So if you make the initial goal of saying, oh, I just want to write 1 sentence, so it's not intimidating, it's not overwhelming, and then you write that 1 sentence, and then you think, well, I'll write another one, and I'll write another one, and so it kind of pulls you into your writing session. So love that tip. Highly recommend that book. But yeah, this year has been crazy for writing. Like I said, I finished the second draft in November, and then I ordered my printout so I could do a read-through. I completed the read-through this month, December. I told myself that I was going to just re-outline, and then on January 1st, I was going to start editing. But I got really bored with outlining, and I didn't really feel like it was necessary because all of my notes were in the manuscript, basically. And I also had been taking notes in my dedicated notebook for the story. And so it felt redundant, and I could not stop thinking about the book, and I just wanted to dive back in just because I love it so much. So I already started editing. I've basically done, as of yesterday, because I still have to write today, I've done 6 chapters, including one that is a first draft chapter. Like I wrote it for the first time for this draft. Because I felt like there was a little something missing from the setup, and so I added that. So a lot of work has been done so far. My goal for today, since I'm staying up till midnight, is to get 3 chapters edited, and all 3 of them are ones that existed in the novella. So because I've already hit them twice, I don't think they'll be terribly difficult to edit. So hopefully I'll be able to get all 3 done tonight. And then if all of 3 of those are finished, that is actually the entire first act finished and edited before the new year, which would be awesome. But yeah, so that's everything I did as far as writing in 2021. So super, super good year for me. And I'm going to miss this cute little planner. But here's my 2022 planner. This is a Katie Daisy weekly planner. So the setup is similar to just a basic one like this, but it's full of all these like gorgeous illustrations. Oh my gosh, I love this planner. Because something I felt like was lacking and that I was jealous of other people for or of, I can't speak English, it's just how beautiful other people's planners are, especially people that bullet journal. I just don't have time to bullet journal. I'm not an artist. I'm not super good at designing things. So I wanted something that was beautiful without having to create it myself. And so having something like this was like the perfect fix for that, basically. Like, look how pretty. And it's just full of these gorgeous illustrations. So I love it already. It's like slightly different than this one because this one had a lot of blank white space where I could put like quotes and goals and stuff. So we're going to have to figure out a different system for how to handle that. But I think the planner will serve me well. My writing goals for 2022 are, first and foremost, finished the third draft of The Elf and the Goblin. My timeline for that, which I don't think will be too ambitious based on how long editing is taking me so far, but I would like to be done with the third draft by the end of March. So basically, I'll be spending January through March doing the second act and the third act. My second big goal for the year is to send The Elf and the Goblin to beta readers. So they won't be getting the third draft technically because I'm going to go through it again in April, May, depending on how long it takes, just to kind of like proofread and beautify it a little bit so it's readable. I don't know if that's considered another draft or not, but they're not going to get the exact third draft, basically. At the latest, I want to send the first part to beta readers by June. So, June 1st. So hopefully that works out. I think if I'm diligent and I keep to my writing routine, I will be able to do that. Another thing I want to do this year is enter a first chapter writing contest, which is being hosted by a writing conference that I am trying to go to in May. So hopefully that'll go well. I already edited the first chapter, but it needs to be polished and made beautiful. And then I need to send it to a couple people to get their feedback before I enter it. Hi. Brief intermission. My daughter came in pretending to be a cat. And so that took a little while. But anyways, let's hurry and finish this. So obviously another goal is to attend that writers conference. And then let's see, reading goals, pretty straightforward. I want to read 50 books this year because I managed to read 56 in 2021. And then because I work part-time now, I spend, I want to say roughly 4 hours a week commuting, which isn't a ton, but it's great audiobook time. So as long as I am listening to audiobooks consistently and then just keeping up my normal reading schedule, I should be able to do that. Secondary kind of like smaller goals for reading is read 4 nonfiction and 4 indie books. So just one of each per quarter, which I think is manageable. Meow. 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 I am going to clean this disaster of an office. So you can see I've got like donation box, I've got stuff all over the floor, cords that I don't even know what they go to, artwork, family pictures, just all sorts of things. So that's the priority right now. I might move the wall hangings from this corner, this is where my desk used to be, to here so that it's over the desk, but that's not priority. So I'm just going to focus on tidying the room and getting it to a kind of serviceable place. And then if I have time and have the motivation, I'll do the wall hangings. I've got a storage situation in the closet here. So I've got to like find the cubbies, the little baskets that go to these cubbies and utilize those. So that's the project for right now. You guys are going to laugh. I switched up my film background yet again just because it's kind of a long, complicated story that I won't get into, but we've been shuffling our bookcases around the house. And one of the biggest reasons for this most recent change is that we were actually given this really beautiful ladder bookcase for Christmas, which I'll show you in just a second. So this one, which I used, I think like a year or two ago on AuthorTube, is back in the background. Looking cute. The top shelf, excluding Mistborn, which I haven't read, and Dawn Shard. I just wanted all the Brandon Sanderson together. But the top shelf is all favorites, and I snuck in my novella so that it could be among greatness and like channel that energy somehow, which I know sounds silly, but it just makes me happy to see it next to books that I love. And then the rest is kind of a mixture of spines out and spines in. Spines in means I haven't read it yet, so I'm trying to force myself to be better about reading what I own this year. So my priority and my goal for my book collection is to curate it and have it become something that really represents my tastes, so that if somebody looks at my shelf, It's basically a book recommendation. If they see it on my shelf, they know I love it, that I recommend it, that I would loan it to them, that sort of thing. So that is my focus for my book collection this year. So you know that you're the mom of a little kid when you open a random box that you haven't opened in a while, and there's a Lego inside. What the heck, sir? And are you really a writer unless you have a million either blank notebooks or notebooks with only one page started? Hi, it's Editing Dawn here on Monday the 3rd. I just needed to tell you that I did not edit 3 chapters on New Year's Eve. I edited 1 because it was complicated. And then I edited another chapter on Saturday and then took a break on Sunday because I'm trying to do that this year, not do fiction writing on Sundays. So that leaves me to finish Act 1 today. So there's just 1 chapter left. So didn't pan out the way I wanted to, but I'm still ahead of schedule since I did start editing in December and not January. So it's fine. Anyways, I just wanted to close out this video and say thank you for watching. I hope you had an amazing New Year's and that you're excited for the new year. Good luck with your goals. Have an amazing week. And as always, happy writing. Bye.